Chapter 4.3 Miraculous, Bountiful. I am a star of pure light as seen through the snake's eyes. Dear Madrecita, I bow with the hand on my heart to you, gratitude inside, respect for the path you guided me to. Stars radiate light from inside. It is the product of their inner conduit. Light appears through synthesizing my thoughts and merging them with feelings and intuition. A visual then is born, a color, a shape, or a picture, as a carrier of the specific ray. A beam extends itself then from my core that is now unhindered by the protective shell that fulfilled its role so well before it was fully crushed at last. Now the strength of the shell lies in a concentrated form in my core, where the synthesis appears. A spiky star, beaming rays of light, finding her fulfillment in outwardly oriented inner flow. Too much input from outside, and she collapses inwardly, losing the capacity to shine. It happened to me once or twice. Forced input or simply mental abuse. A star is born when the smallest pieces of light, building blocks of our magnificent universe, meet each other and feel the pull, the invincible attraction that brings them closer and ever closer together. They recognize themselves in each other's presence and irresistibly want to become one united instead of separated bodies of consciousness. The more of this recognition happens, the bigger the united consciousness body grows. It grows until a threshold is reached, and it realizes itself as a completely new being, not just a collective of particles that brought in an individual past. A conjunction allows an upgrade, and a new form is born. Not an addition of past experiences defies us. They are then but components for a magical ritual to take place, where they are combined with the blessings Heavenly Fathers are giving to them. Suddenly it all bursts into flames, and something that wasn't there before now takes, for the first time in a long period of waiting in a pressured environment, a new life-giving breath of fresh ethereal air. Subchapter Underneath. I am used to being bent over, merging, adjusting, becoming one with my surroundings, the people that I depend on, who are an intimate part of my life. It is a dangerous thing to be an outcast, and outcasts are those that are outstanding, those that do not fit in, those that do not obey the rules of society, and those that are too unique for their own sake, no matter in which way or form, actions or deeds or character qualities. Being too different from the environment is suspicious. People don't like contrasting differences in character traits, tend to identify with the ones of their kind, like to see the reflection of themselves in the other, and merge, becoming part of a bigger, solid, secure-feeling unit. So being a castaway means being left on a sidewalk to march the lonely path of a solitary adventurer. Beware if the troops of united, merciless communities are coming across your path. You alone would not stand a chance of winning nor going around untouched. And so I learned to merge, to take over the qualities that are not part of my innermost self, losing my identity, not protesting and taking others' interests, for the sake of not being a complex and one-of-a-kind creation, resembling others but not being like them. I lost a sense of boundaries for my own identity. The picture of my authentic self became the one with very blurry boundaries and extended itself into the surroundings like a color mixed with water and running out of the silhouette. And thus, my character, just like the color, became thinned, not royal blue, but light and transparent, merely bluish, just resembling something of the former kind. Yet I am still mesmerized by the clarity and clearly defined layers of reflections I, from time to time, see. The path of concentrating color is not so similar to the one of thinning it. It's not even the opposite, a somewhat analytical procedure. I am still determined to discover the nature of it. My mind is constantly worried about the judgment of the other people surrounding me, about my choices and my preferences, my way of spending free time. I often choose to find an excuse to enable myself to do or not to do what I truly wish to indulge myself in. Have the urge to explain myself or subconsciously trap myself into circumstances, even create an ailment. And if it so happens that I'm surrounded by overly outwardly oriented people, I feel tense for having the need to spend time introvertedly, pondering about my inner feelings, so that I could eventually put them into words and make sense out of it. I might not It might not be visible to the others. I'm afraid of being considered a lazy, secluded, somewhat socially incapacitated person, for who I truly am is an explorer of a higher mind that never ceases to expand itself into new worlds, going beyond old limits into other realities that I can truly touch. And I'm all too keen to follow those threads that lead me into ever new discoveries that I seem to lack possibilities in finding in the outer, in quotes, real world. The balance is, of course, what needs to be maintained. One of the ways I can achieve it is by bringing those inner discoveries into a tangible form of art, words, meaningful depictions, but as well by engaging in social activities and bringing it to my physical experience through the pleasure of having delicious meals and thermal baths and nature walks, indulging in stories other people discovered in their inner worlds, receiving them through pictures, stories, telling, music. I enjoy spending time in the good company of my cats and my friends, meeting new people from time to time. It's such a joy to find an understanding with somebody, such a refreshment for the soul's urge to connect. Every time it feels like a precious gift, but I'm not beyond the judgment of others' minds, and that worries me sometimes. It threatens to disassemble my sanity that I built, thus the difficulties, because we rely upon communal support for our safety. These concerns are beyond my rationality, and I believe it to be ingrained in our collective self. How can I discover an authentic way of living my own unique character and qualities while not being afraid of being discarded of a somewhat lacking mentality? To be part of everybody else's commonly maintained, governmentally ruled, societally judged world. Up until shortly, I searched for cracks, looking for a way of being accepted among outcasts. But there's so much tension going against the flow. I want to flow with it, having the pleasure of being a part that is maintained within a bigger mechanism that is securely placed without the danger of being replaced, extracted, or trashed. Burdensome, preoccupied, not wished for, or meaningful and meaningfully placed, belonging. For the majority of my life, I unconsciously feared such an outcome, and it was part of my childhood's stress, not perfectly placed, too outrageous, too selfish for my own sake, believing to be somewhat special. How ridiculous! I'm not special, they say. Why would I be seen as such? The mere opposite of it, I am. Common, blunt, too direct, not outspoken, too outspoken, grey inside. How dare I see myself shining inside and out? too curious for my own sake, not distinguished, just somewhat mixed in my own thoughts about myself. And so I ask myself, how, after all of these thoughts have crossed my mind and nested in the darkest, dustiest corners, shall I unwind these patterns and start living while celebrating my own unique self? For I have maintained chameleon-colored skin as the most precious, useful skill set that enabled me not only adjust but use my insights for the betterment of others' life experiences. How can I express myself to others and myself, or simply express myself without having a recipient, in the way that I find myself to be in earnest? Who would ask me those questions, if not I? I cannot reduce it to maintaining just a bodily self-image, which forms so-called uniqueness. I cannot change it upon my choosing. But the invisible part of myself is so malleable, so pliable. I can twist and bend, merge and alter it, release, maintain, run fast or slower, no matter how much stress it creates or how it tenses me inside. And so, I ended up in several of those kinds of relationships where I, without a second thought, dropped whatever kind of my own newly discovered interests or dislikes, tendencies, characteristics, and immediately merged with the other one. The choices were maybe not perfectly contrived, and no person is intrinsically neither good or bad. Therefore, merging caused me joy and harm. But was it what I lived my own life? It was a tricky path of disentanglement from the others, not necessarily intentional influences. Now I'm alone, not bent, not turned, nor amended, and I ponder about the significance of it to the simple choices and how it influenced me. I wish for some fulfilling, beautiful reality in partnership with a family of my own, and it scares me to see it as a plausible future. The next time I try it, it might be just all over the same thing again, where I bend and turn, adjust, and forget about who I truly am as a character. I might not have enough time to discover my own true self and then set the firm grounding stone for it to be maintained when again I encounter some deep and close, wished-for intimate connection. It's a slippery slope, and without the firm stone on the ground, I might simply blunder and fall onto somebody else's land, where I have to quickly figure things out and see how to adjust in order to be a living part of it, not only surviving. Will I be happy then? I'm highly suspicious of it. It seems to me that people are the happiest when they can feel free, forgetting about the outcomes and liberating themselves into their most inner, innocent, long-forgotten bias. I would hold on to it so very tightly if I could find it. Authentic relating, people call it, but I do not know exactly what it means. I just had glimpses of it. Claiming myself in the outer world is like fighting a fight for myself but against someone. I do not wish to be against anyone, especially not against my own self, for I have lived in tension, turmoil, self-harm almost my entire life. Fighting in that sense is not my nature, and that is, I guess, self-love. I discover it, alas. Nurturing is then what comes next. Being not alike so often leads to separation, getting out of touch in friendships, or not finding a common wire in the first place. Sometimes it is of crucial importance to find that way to connect, like in families. And the authenticity then seems like a lesser treasure, a smaller loss than togetherness. But at our core, we seem to need both to be happy and live a relaxed way, while being an integral part but not betraying ourselves. And I feared for others interfering with my path. But, as it so often is, I was the one meddling with it, throwing sticks to cause disturbances on the lake's surface that aligned my subconscious and conscious will? Could it be that I found myself after the longest of journeys, split into pieces I did not know which one of them but depicted the real me, jumped from one to another, identifying myself with a spectrum of qualities? I came to understand that I encompass much more, and it doesn't have to mean that one side of me has to be even similar to the other one. I might as well be contradicting. I might as well release negative feelings while still being inclined to believe in a pure heart. I might hurt myself on my way to loving and switch a coin thrown for making a choice just to avoid a consequence unwished for. Maybe I'm not so perfectly aligned. My willpower has taught me to strive for the polished outcome, but it doesn't mean that I am made without character flaws. No gemstone is born without pressure and heat mixing with its surroundings and concentrated force. The imperfections of my character might be just the needed material for the chemical process to undergo its threshold in the meantime, becoming an alchemical one. How plain and monochromatic a black obsidian is, although noble and pure in its glance, in comparison to a Dalmatian jasper, whose cheetah spots are like dancing bubbles. No pattern is ever the same. The sequence from black obsidian to becoming a snowflake obsidian takes just one step, one impurity, and nature takes care of the rest, creating the most astounding, jaw-dropping patterns that can be scientifically explained. But for me, it is as simple as beauty. How beautiful one can feel depending on what people speak about them. And I indeed led myself to believe the grudging image others created for me. I never doubted my intelligence, though. I was called stupid in my adult life, but that comment simply didn't ring a bell. On the contrary, I thought that person saying it was delusional, because it couldn't be further from how I actually am. But the other arguments, oh, they didn't even need a sophisticated explanation and hit right at the hurtful spot every time. I would have loved to hear something else to soothe my so much diminished self-esteem in hopes that enough of those nice comments could recover it. Poor me, so desperate for somebody's love and appreciation, no matter whose. I turned this one around and I saw the insanity driving the words and how they were specifically directed not to say the truth but to hurt. So no, I don't believe in those voices anymore. But how do I convince myself not to repeat another monologue for the image in the mirror or when I look down at myself? Beauty is a concept creating an opinion depending on the century and culture. But for me, it creates a feeling of being mesmerized, looked up to, and wanted. The truth is, I feel like I'm so close to being in love with somebody. This feeling of being enchanted, not knowing why, but finding someone attractive, feeling well around them, wanting to spend time under their spell as if to get a piece of their glittering spirits. That's how I want to feel all the time about myself. Feeling alive, mesmerized, entangled in glitter garlands made from the values that are dearest to mankind. Serenity, strength, kindness, power over one's mind and heart wishes, emotional self-resilience, self-acceptance. I am the only one who is needed for this alchemical process to happen and make me into a snowflake obsidian. Madrecita did not tell me that the polished new surface gets its radiant glance from the impurities in the material, and I needed to be taken apart, down to the atoms, like a caterpillar in its invisible to the world transformational process. The tentacle-like being that shattered my soul, my essence, in the Peruvian jungle, wasn't done with its mission after the one-night ceremony. And although the maestro helped me gather the pieces back, put them into a new order, my outer reality stayed the same. That is not how our universe works. As inside, so it is outside. That's the law. And so my exterior world was shattered into the smallest pieces. No area was left untouched 3 years after, when I just integrated the first part of interior new arrangement. In the 3 upcoming years I gathered my outerly pieces back, like diamond glitter that lost its shininess as no light hit the rock. That's when I had a dream of receiving another certification, as if the medicine itself has appeared to announce my graduation, of being certified in having accomplished putting my inner and my outer world consequently back into the state of stability after being pulled towards extinction, madness, disassemblement, disintegration. Subchapter: Painted Daylight. In quotes. Jurgita, I want to tell you something about our past. We were bound to meet each other. The very first time I laid my eyes on you. Don't you remember the sparks? Did you ever have such an immediate, automatic reaction after meeting somebody? I know I didn't. And you haven't either. My dear soul sister, how great we once were. Other lifetimes, other stories, other cities, countries, planets, galaxies, and universes. Won't you forget the disappearance of this eternal bond and embody it here again? Don't doubt my love. I will reach out to you. No friendship will substitute the longing we feel for each other. We are equals bound to find each other among the plenitude of shiny stars, again and again. Souls that are connected through love bind each other in it timelessly. I'm sorry I left you once, didn't fight for your hand nor for your heart, but lost hope instead. This time will be different. I have lost the old pains and learned to believe that no force can stop a heart from loving somebody. Love is great, heart is powerful, and I adore you for your greatness and your power. I shall stick by your side. Feel protected in my arms, in my embrace, as I lead troops in your name for homeland safety, my queen. I was once your silent admirer, another time your secret lover, then your father, and now I might be your friend. But most of all, do not forget this. I'm the worst enemy of your enemy, even if it's only a shadow haunting your precious heart. Let me be your warrior. I do not want to live purposeless lives anymore. Write letters to me. I want to read your words as they flow through your being. May life be gracious to you as you go the courageous way. I see your strength, your grace, your wisdom. Do not be afraid to show it outside of your home environment. I will not run, nor cry, nor bite, but admire it with all that I am. Be abundant with me instead of without me. Be mine, as a couple mastering their strengths and managing their worries, creating worlds within worlds where only the chosen ones are allowed to enter. Happiness is real, my love. We just need to catch it while it flies. 2 is better than 1. End of quotes. Love, I managed to be insecure about our bond, about my life. My mind is in a race. Will I be changed? Who told me to be sure and secure before making a choice? I didn't know beauty existed in the heart's calling and faith. I'm all in. Could not be stopped even if my precious mind would use a handbrake. She might be just a little bit afraid, as the not knowing is still to be found as a friend in disguise playing an illusory game of war in heaven. I wish to be free of my own expectations that I hold for my future self. Who has considered my dreams when I awoke, if not the future me? She deserves a chance to prove to my past and now selves that she is capable of deep comprehension and following the dreams of all three of us. She knows how to present herself in front of people, how to take care of herself emotionally and, since recently, also physically. So why not grant her the freedom to decide what's best? Trust me, my now self, our visions are in good hands. She holds them close as priceless gems until they are ready to bloom into the sparkly crystal flowers and bring hope, bring change to everybody around us. All is clear, all is set. Madre Ayahuasca, teacher vision, have you taken care of us meeting like clean sheets again? Is he married? In quotes. No. Does he have children? In quotes. No as well. Quotes end. Is he in a mental state of to meet me again? In quotes. We'll see each other in no time. End of quotes. Beginning of quotes. Your financial worries wouldn't have gone with his attitude towards life. Your emotional maturity was a key verdict for him to continue working relationship-wise on himself. You both needed practice and growth to be as simple and similar as you are deep inside, instead of the polarization that took place since you were little ones. End of quotes. Where would I be without you? Lost in the woods, hopelessly searching for the way out of the darkness and inner misery. Who would I have become if I hadn't had a chance to meet you? A song unspoken, a melody without the keynote, a painting without a picture inside. Who would I meet on my way if I lost hope and stopped walking? There would be no one on my path, as the way that is not gone through ceases its existence. Who would greet me on a sunny day if I met no one? Who would sing alongside me in the moonlight? All would fall into stillness like a ripple that reaches lake's edge. My vision, what a difference you've already made in my life. Thanks to you, I haven't stopped walking, and a song never left my mind, and my days are colorful even if it rains. Now you have given me all the proof, therefore I am doubtless. I feared you be attached to me before I wished the same kind of attachment towards you. I resisted you, though the temptation to let you close was a test in itself. I fear I have damaged something by refusing your kind and gentle manner. I hope you can understand that now. Maybe you did it all along. Nothing is lost. In truth, only now I see that I have found a choice. Now I know that I have already seen your face, my one true love, my equal. Now that I at last, after more than 3 years, am able to put a real man's face onto my vision, you are the one creating a song in my mind. Like a wind blow that goes along with a storm, a wave is part of the ocean, a bird that belongs to the tree, a flower finds its beauty through the bee. All that belongs lives on. Who would a flower be without its counterpart? A vanishing beauty fearing the end of its breath. Who would she be without the prospect of an eternal life in other and yet another form? Her pollen needs to be collected and spread for the wind to catch its precious hope. A bee has the power to grant eternal life. Drink from my cup, take my nectar for it to become yours. Take me as a part of you, allow me to become a part of the ever-flowing stream of life. No need to be vague. I have come into the light to be seen and taken, to be used and absorbed. I give my own body as an offering stemming from my heart. Will you see a danger in following the temptation coming from a place undiscovered for you as of yet? Is it unsafe? Is it scary? Look and see clearly. It's nothing but a flower whose blossom opened up after the darkest of nights, when the first morning light rays reached her closed head. Whose worry is it that you carry within yourself? In quotes. Writing my own words is not as nice as reading yours. You have created a great joy for me by sending me your love in the form of a letter. The warmth envelops my heart every time I read it to myself. Several months have passed by the time these words are reaching you from my heart, so keep on waiting. They will be yours at last. My mind was racing by the time your letter came in, and I didn't know how to react to it. One side of me was overjoyed, another pretty confused. The validation I needed has just arrived. How can I not respond? And still, I doubt myself. Will my response be coherent enough? I could not bear losing such a chance. And so, a frozen land, like in your dream, appears in front of me. I'm cold because doubt has found a way into me. My heart longed for your closeness for years. Now that she has arrived, I feel unworthy of it. You are such a joy, such a talented beauty. My ugly self does not want to put any dirt onto your blossom. End of quotes. But don't you understand that the dirt is what a flower needs? Rich in nutrition soil is what keeps her blossom blooming. Beginning of quotes. If you say that I am loved by you as dirty as I see myself to be, I will trust your word. You have my respect. I'll make up my mind for my few years younger self. He'll come to you in trust, not in doubt. Do not worry, I will not press you to do anything you don't like, nor have expectations of you having a major contribution to my wished-for accomplishments. It is my personal pursuit to manifest. What I imagined for us both is simply a friendship, sharing each other's goals, joys, and sorrows, as they say. A very simplistic version of romance is what I envision. I wish to be in your company through distance and time. You are just such a wonderful person. You surprise me again and again, and I know life is never boringly the same in your company. I'd love to be your trustworthy companion, for the feeling you give me is worth every struggle. You might need to wait a bit for me to come fully close. Please don't feel discouraged about the lack of my romantic words. They are there inside, just a little bit shy. They will come out when they feel courage stroke. My heart is with you. How else would it be? How ridiculous for you to think otherwise. So untrue. I hear you whisper my name, the same as when we first met in the jungle during the nightly rides. You were so gentle and held yourself back, thus true divinity soon shone through you. Do you remember what a special meeting place it was, with so much help from outside? We were never meant to be together right from the start, or maybe at the moment in time, not at all in the future. Isn't it beautiful, the journey we embarked upon, approaching and retrieving, looking the other way, coming back, looking forward together at last. I'll pop up to say hi once again. End of quotes. I can't bear waiting any longer. I've been waiting all of my life for something, someone, a phone call, an apology. Some things just don't seem to come, no matter how much energy, heart investment, or patience I bring into it. I'm not afraid to speak my feelings, lack thereof, or confusion out loud. Any of it is better than silence. And you gave me so much of it. Lack of connection, lack of presence. Just to appear for a moment to confirm that the cords are not cut loose and disappear. At the moment I feel disrespected, over-invested, stupid, for I have turned my softer side to the world and received literally nothing for it, although what I gave, I know, had arrived at its destination. It starts to appear to me that I am going down the same old patterned path again. You know where it led me? Aside from years of emotional turmoil, to months of full-blown domestic misconduct. If I catch even a glimpse of something even similar repeating again, I'll be the one cutting cords. For good this time. I've lost so much that I had over the past few years. Money, personal belongings, friends and dear connections, my business, my cat, and my roots were uplifted. I've lost my naivety but gained inner strength. He broke my shell, stabbed into my heart. Guidance even at the turmoil within my reach. That's how I managed until today, and even healed, got back my sanity, got back the stability underneath my feet. And you know what happened afterwards? My heart space opened up again. My subconscious was no longer speaking in mysterious images my conscious mind had tried to interpret in so many ways. The dots have connected, and the inner impressions have suddenly found their counterpart within who I think is you. How come you keep me doubting myself? I will not hold you nor try to restrict. I'm good at letting go or keeping a healthy distance. Healthy distance, therefore, I want to connect. Is this now, silence, healthy to you? I am not afraid of not having you in my life in any shape or form, because I'm giving my best while navigating the waters with a respectful attitude, non-intrusion, trying to empathize with the difficulties you might have that I know nothing of. This exact quality got me into a non-lasting or even harmful situation more than once. Giving myself fully to someone, a project, an endeavor, I don't understand why it constantly turns out to be a weakness when in truth I feel it is supposed to be the sign of my greatest accomplishments, a gift I give to the world. Lately I did some soul searching and needed to confess to myself that I had had a burnout for the past couple of years. If not for that unfortunate event sequence that started with my ex, I might have never understood that the quality I mentioned above becomes only a weakness if I don't look after myself. Let the behavior of the others towards me slip through my fingers. Invest where it's worth investing in terms of useful energy coming in return. Leave it be if there's no such fair exchange. Slowly you start putting me to the test if I have learned that lesson. You have made me realize now how much I mean to you through your absence. I took your word lightly and I regret doing it so. I can't stop you from coming nor from staying away, from taking a break from me or from profoundly loving me in your own unique way. I no longer want to control nor to be a submissive one, neither depend materially nor emotionally on somebody's grace, but be my own solid self that I have found myself to be through this magnificent journey. Can I be myself with you without the danger of control, abuse, emotional dependence, nor silent treatments? These are the poisons I have already absorbed through my skin. I won't fall victim to this sting one more time. That is a promise. Rather take care of only me than suffer from loneliness in togetherness. True words come straight from one's soul, and I cannot rely on your words because, first of all, they have to be told. Otherwise, I won't believe it long term. My mission here is accomplished, and I want to start a new journey together with a trustworthy partner and friend. I don't want to sleep at night. I want to be passionate. I long for the touch on my hand, the one I feel in my mind. I would repeat the same mistakes again and again if I knew the outcome was where my heart's wishes come true. I now believe I have truly found my direction. Subchapter: Pure Light. I entered a dark room whose atmosphere comforted me as much as my quivering heart needed to feel protected and cared for. So, even though I couldn't see as much as my own hand, I stayed in the room looking with my senses for the light. I found its source, but I just could not switch it on. There was no button, no known way. I kept on searching, discovering other objects and furniture in the room. I sat so many times on a comforting couch, went with my fingers through interesting feeling surfaces. My hands would reach over books on shelves, pictures hanging on the walls, and I would wonder what's written inside, what is depicted within the frames. I would come across a statue on an elevated coffee table, a silhouette of some sort. I could tell it was a bust, but whose? Does this room belong to this person, or is it just an art piece? And sometimes I swear I could feel somebody's presence in this chamber, and nothing but the silence. Only this peculiar feeling of warmth approaching me from a side, one side or the other, but never from behind. Thus I never felt insecure in warmth's presence. Its appearance was a surprise, but with time it became a delight I would look forward to and eventually truly long for its longer stay. I tried searching for its source as well, in vain. Without my vision, I felt like a handicapped old man. My precious gift was taken away from me, and I grew sad because of its absence among the warming visitations. I would fall asleep not knowing when a day begins and when it ends. I would dream of a colorful world again and again. I would dream of the pictures on the walls and about the stories written in the books that I touched. Wake up and see the dark. I would get up to touch more of the things that are inside, then lay down with the hopes of dreaming colorfully again. The door was never locked, and I knew exactly where it was. I could have gone out any time, but it would have meant going back in time, returning to the past. The world behind that door I've already explored. The longing for another, different in quality, with a light and warmth-filled reality, drew me to enter this room in the first place. So, this yet invisible realm. Needless to say, I stubbornly stayed. Whatever riddle I needed to solve now is nothing in comparison to the turmoil I have gone through and endured. Whatever struggle I need to go through right now is worth the gift of seeing again, seeing this completely new and unexplored scenery. What's the purpose of this room? I ask myself. What am I supposed to do here? I loved it a lot, the feeling it gave me. Just couldn't connect the mysterious dots. My mind was racing as if believing that the faster it went, the solution would come undeniably closer. So naive of me. How distressed and impatient my mind was. Slowly I realized the falseness of this approach and let the overactivity and action-driven attitude slowly lie at rest. The fast approach worked for me before in the light, but here something new needs to be discovered. And so I set my relaxing mind on a crusade to discover a new way of approaching the light. It took me 2 years just to realize that my overactive approach was not working in my favor, and 1 more year just calming myself down. And when I reached that 0 point of being in peace with the passivity and even started enjoying it, the light in the room went on. Guess who I found in the moment standing in front of the mirror? Myself. All of those paintings were actually mirrors. The books, my childhood nightly dreams written with my own little hand. And so I have found myself as a grown-up and at the same time as a child. From that moment on, I was determined to always take care of my own heart and be a best friend to my little self. The warming presence I felt was my own self-reflection. My childhood dreams were my visions in light. How many of them I have forgotten over time. They needed to find me to gift me with peace. I feel well equipped now for the explorative journey that awaits me behind the next door. I don't wish to change anymore, and that says a lot about how I am going to perceive those who follow their calling and their dreams. I am incomplete. I do not consist of an endless number of pages, and I might be made just out of magical stories within me, but I feel content in my way of living, even if at times I need to convince myself of such a solid ground. I am a 99, whereas others might feel like hundreds to me. I no longer fly high with my dreams, don't hear the trembling shiver of fear collapsing upon me, and still don't regret the path that led me towards the single and boring but stable in ground, relationship-less love life. I have created a person within my mind with my inner vision in the extended period of mental confusion, physical inability, and emotional turmoil. A man I have seen and felt so many times with my senses may very well be a construct of my crushed self-image, trying to protect me from the cruelty that took shape in my private space. Now I choose to be a protective husband and a dear friend to myself. The marriage within myself is between my masculine and feminine sides. I rescue them after they found a common agreement in the captivity of their solitary paths. They arrived at the conclusion by undertaking an arduous journey and realizing that only together they are one, capable of depending on each other and able to stand tall for one another when the world roars around them. I found them at the bottom of a water column, each bound with strong ropes on wooden pillars, huge nets hovering above their heads, preventing divers from rescuing them. Corpses of those who attempted the escape were now part of the lake's bottom. I reached this place after a huge wave came riding towards me, blocking my way to swim to the shore as I was fighting the waves. I saw no chance of safe escape, so I dived in. The wave kept carrying me down till I reached the lake's bottom. That's where I found them, young men, solely focused on achieving his set goals and material self-sufficiency. A young woman, depleted in soul, just realizing that she's not alone in this world. I witnessed them when she asked the young man if they shall not do the soul-searching together and be a couple to each other, no longer to somebody else. He was surprised, and his facial structure lost the rigidity that very same second and became soft and relaxed, happy to be recognized and valued as a companion. I equipped myself with a knife from drowned diver to cut the ropes and later on a hole in the net. I was afraid that the young couple would suffocate underwater, but was surprised to realize that we all could spend an eternity in this pressured environment, breathing just fine. How good that I went into the water well prepared, with a diver's costume and fins on my feet. I don't know why other divers didn't last. Maybe they were afraid of the depths, but I knew my purpose and why I was led down there. The young couple was freed, and we all found our way to the shore. I believe I will observe the wide waters from now on just from the shoreline and spend my time exploring the lands instead. I care no longer about the treasures hiding in depths. I have found enough for myself. It's time for some relaxation. My skin needs some sun, and the adventures of the newly found couple will be the next ones to be told.